Hello, English learners. Welcome back to Daily English Talks. I'm Mia, and today I want to share something that completely transformed the way I speak English. For years, I used to think in my native language first, and then translate every single word into English before speaking. It felt slow. It felt unnatural. And sometimes it made me lose confidence while speaking with others. But then something changed. I learned how to stop translating and start thinking directly in English. And that changed everything. When you stop translating, English becomes part of you. It flows naturally. You don't have to pause and search for words anymore. You start expressing feelings, ideas, and stories like a native speaker would. You sound more confident, more fluent, and more authentic. But of course, it takes time and practice to reach that point. And in this long and relaxing session, we'll explore exactly how to do it step by step. Let's begin by imagining a very simple situation. You wake up in the morning, and instead of thinking, I have to brush my teeth, in your native language, you simply say to yourself, I have to brush my teeth. That's thinking in English. It might sound simple, but this is where fluency begins. You slowly train your brain to connect ideas directly to English words, not to translations. At first, it feels strange. You may forget words or feel like you're forcing yourself. That's completely normal. When I first started doing this, I used to label objects in my room. My desk, my chair, my lamp, my book. Every time I looked at something, I whispered the English word. I didn't say it in my native language. I said it in English. This is a book. I'm reading a book. Slowly, my brain started making direct connections between what I saw and the English word for it. Now, let's do a small practice together. Look around your room right now. What do you see? Maybe a phone, a notebook, a pen, or a cup of tea. Say it softly in English. My phone is on the table. I'm holding a cup of tea. There's a notebook next to my computer. Try it right now. Say it slowly and clearly. Let your brain feel comfortable thinking in English without translating. When you do this daily, even for just 5 minutes, you'll start noticing small changes. You'll catch yourself describing things automatically in English. You'll say, I'm tired, or I'm hungry, without even realizing it. That's the sign that your brain is beginning to think in English. Another practice that helped me a lot was talking to myself in English. Yes, I literally talked to myself. When I cooked, I described what I was doing. I'm cutting the vegetables. I'm turning on the stove. I'm making breakfast. It felt silly at first, but after a few weeks, it became natural. I was thinking and speaking in English at the same time, without stopping to translate anything. Now, I want you to try this exercise with me. Imagine you're making your morning coffee. You wake up, go to the kitchen, and say quietly to yourself, I'm making coffee. I'm boiling water. The smell of coffee is so nice. I'm pouring milk. It tastes perfect. Keep doing this every morning. Describe what you do out loud or silently in your mind in English. This is how you start thinking in English naturally. The biggest mistake learners make is trying to translate complex sentences in their heads. You don't need to say everything perfectly. You need to think simply. Short, direct sentences. It's sunny today. I'm going to work. I'm waiting for my friend. She is late. The simpler you think, the faster you'll start to think directly in English. When I was learning, I used to walk outside and narrate what I saw in English. That's a red car. A woman is walking her dog. The sky looks cloudy. The street is quiet. This daily observation practice trained my mind to think fast and describe the world in English without stopping. You can do it too. You don't need to be loud. You can just whisper or even think silently. Let's do a little exercise right now. Close your eyes for a few seconds and imagine you're walking down your street. You see a man talking on his phone, a child playing with a ball, a woman watering her plants. Describe it in English right now in your mind. A man is talking on the phone. A child is playing. A woman is watering the plants. That's thinking in English. Simple, natural, and alive. Here's another powerful tip. Stop using your dictionary to translate words into your native language. Instead, use English to English explanations. When you don't know a word, search for its meaning in English. For example, if you don't know the word forest, look it up as a large area of trees and plants growing together. Your brain will connect the word to its image, not to a translation. When you connect English words directly to images, feelings, or actions, you build what's called an English thinking pattern. It's like creating a small English world inside your mind. You no longer need to travel from your native language to English. Everything happens directly in English. Let's practice this idea together. Imagine the word rain. Don't translate it. Just imagine the sound of raindrops, the smell of wet soil, and the feeling of holding an umbrella. Now say softly, "It's raining." Your brain connects the image and the word naturally. Do the same with sun, coffee, music, friend, or home. Feel what they mean instead of translating them. In my early days, I used to keep a small diary in English. I didn't write long sentences, just small notes about my day. I woke up early. I felt sleepy. I went for a walk. The air was cool. That's how I started to think and write in English. Over time, I didn't have to translate anymore. I just wrote naturally. Let's do this journaling exercise right now. Take a few seconds to think about your day. Then say out loud or write in English. Today I woke up at, then I had, I went to, I talked to. Keep it simple. Don't worry about grammar or mistakes. Just express your thoughts directly in English. Another thing that helped me was listening to slow, clear English daily. The more I listened, the more I understood patterns and rhythm. I started recognizing how native speakers think, how they connect ideas smoothly without translating word by word. When you listen daily, your brain starts to predict what's coming next. That's the moment you begin to think in English naturally. So here's a listening practice for you. Imagine you're listening to a short English conversation. Hey, how's your day going? B. Pretty good. I just finished my work. What about you? A. I'm going to cook dinner soon. Now pause and think. Did you translate that in your head? Or did you understand it directly? If you understood it without translation, that means you're already developing your English thinking ability. To train this more deeply, listen to English every day and repeat what you hear aloud. This method is called shadowing. When you repeat after the speaker immediately, you don't have time to translate. You simply copy the rhythm, the tone, and the flow of natural speech. That's one of the fastest ways to start thinking in English. Try this with me right now. I'll say a few simple lines. Repeat after me immediately, without thinking too much. I'm ready for a new day. I feel good today. I'm learning something new. I can speak English more easily every day. I don't need to translate anymore. Say these lines with me again, but faster this time. Feel the rhythm. Let it flow naturally. That's how your brain begins to process English automatically. The secret to thinking in English is not about studying harder. It's about immersing yourself daily in small, natural English moments. You don't have to move to an English-speaking country. You can create your own English environment wherever you are. You can watch videos, talk to yourself, listen to English songs, describe your surroundings, and practice speaking every single day. Thinking in English isn't about perfection. It's about comfort. It's about letting English live inside your daily life. When you wake up, think in English. When you eat, describe your meal in English. When you go out, notice what you see in English. Over time, your brain will stop depending on your native language. It will automatically think in English. And that's when fluency truly begins. When you begin to think in English, something magical happens. You stop being afraid of making mistakes. You stop worrying about every single grammar rule. You just start communicating. And communication is the real goal of language learning. The moment you begin to focus on meaning instead of perfection, your English begins to grow naturally. I remember when I first joined an online English group. I was so nervous. I kept translating every sentence in my head before I spoke. But after a while, I realized that no one cared if my grammar was perfect. They just wanted to understand me. They wanted to connect. So I stopped thinking about how to translate. I started to just say what I felt in English, even if it wasn't perfect. And guess what? People understood me. That's the first big step, letting go of fear. Because fear keeps you trapped in translation. You're scared to make mistakes, so you double-check every word in your mind before you speak. But when you stop worrying about mistakes, your brain becomes free. It starts to think faster, and that's when real fluency begins. Let's try a small mental practice together. I want you to imagine you're meeting someone new. You don't know what to say, but instead of translating from your native language, you smile and say, "Hi, nice to meet you. My name is..." Then imagine asking, "How's your day going?" or "What do you do?" Don't think too hard about the grammar or translation. Just imagine saying it naturally, like a friend. That's how you train your brain to think directly in English. I used to practice short, everyday conversations like that in my mind. I'd imagine talking to a shopkeeper, a taxi driver, or a friend. For example, I'd imagine going to a cafe and saying, "Hi, can I get a coffee, please?" Or, "Can I sit here?" Or, "Do you have almond milk?" Those tiny sentences might sound simple, but they trained my brain to think in English during real situations. Let's do a practice together now. Close your eyes for a second and imagine you walk into a cafe. You see the menu and say softly, "I'll take a cappuccino, please." Then imagine the barista asking, "For here or to go?" And you answer, "For here, please." You find a seat, take out your phone, and think, "I'll check my messages." Try saying these in English now, one by one. Don't translate. Just imagine living that moment in English. Everyday English moments like these are the key to fluency. They are short, real, and full of context. You can practice them every single day, no matter where you are. And the more you repeat them, the more naturally your brain starts to think in English. Automatically. Another method that helped me stop translating was listening to English while doing something else. I used to listen to English audio while cooking, cleaning, or walking. I didn't force myself to understand every word. I just let English sounds fill my mind. Slowly, my brain started to recognize familiar words, phrases, and rhythms. English began to feel natural, like music that plays in the background of your life. You can do this too. Every day, choose one simple English podcast, video, or audio that you enjoy. Play it while you do something else. Don't study it, just listen. You'll be surprised how your mind starts to understand more and more automatically. This is how babies learn languages, through exposure and repetition, not translation. Let's try a short listening imagination together. Imagine you're walking in the park and you hear two people speaking English nearby. "Hey, do you want to grab lunch?" one says. "Sure, let's go to that new place near the lake," the other replies. You don't need to translate. You just understand the meaning instantly. That's how your brain begins to absorb English naturally. Here's another exercise that works beautifully. I call it English mini moments. Choose a few moments in your day when you switch your brain to English completely. For example, while brushing your teeth, think in English. I'm brushing my teeth. I need to hurry. I'm almost done. Or while cooking, I'm cutting tomatoes. The pan is hot. This smells so good. These small habits train your brain to function in English without translation. Let's create your own mini moment right now. Think of one thing you do every day. Maybe making your bed, driving, or washing dishes. Choose it and describe it in English step by step. For example, I'm folding my blanket. I'm fixing my pillow. Now I'm done. Do it slowly. Repeat it again and again. This simple practice changes your brain little by little every single day. One more tip that changed everything for me was learning common sentence patterns instead of memorizing individual words. When you memorize full sentences, your brain remembers the structure, not just vocabulary. For example, instead of memorizing the word hungry, memorize the phrase I'm hungry. Then try similar patterns. I'm tired. I'm ready. I'm busy. Your brain begins to use these patterns automatically in real life. Let's do a pattern practice together. Repeat after me softly. I'm hungry. I'm sleepy. I'm happy today. I'm late. I'm learning English every day. Now, replace I'm with you're amazing. You're improving. You're doing great. You're learning fast. This kind of repetition helps your brain internalize English rhythm and thought patterns naturally. When you think in patterns, you no longer need to translate each word. Your brain simply chooses the right pattern for the moment. That's why children learn languages so quickly. They don't memorize vocabulary lists. They hear and repeat natural patterns again and again until their brain connects meaning directly to speech. Let's talk about your phone for a moment. Do you use it in English? If not, change your phone's language settings to English today. This small step will give you daily English exposure without effort. You'll see words like settings, notifications, update, send, and reply hundreds of times a week. Over time, these words will become part of your English thinking. You won't need to translate them ever again. And here's another trick I used. I changed my social media language to English too. When I saw captions, comments, or posts, my mind automatically processed them in English. At first, I needed a second to understand, but later I started reacting instantly, just like I do in my native language. It's a powerful way to train your subconscious mind to think in English. Let's try a short imagination practice again. Imagine you're scrolling through your social media feed and you read, "What a beautiful day." Your brain instantly understands it, right? You didn't translate it. That's how natural thinking in English feels. Keep putting yourself in these little English environments. Your brain will adapt faster than you expect. Thinking in English also requires emotional connection. If you only study English like a subject, it feels distant. But when you connect emotions, stories, and experiences to English, it becomes part of your heart. For example, if you laugh while watching an English video, your brain remembers that laughter in English. If you listen to a touching story in English, your brain connects the emotion directly to the language. Let's do something small but powerful. Think of a memory that makes you happy. Maybe a trip, a family dinner, or a peaceful evening. Describe that moment to yourself in English. I was with my family. We were laughing together. The air was warm. I felt so happy. As you do this, notice how English begins to feel emotional and alive inside you. That's the secret. Emotional connection makes English real. When I stopped translating, English stopped feeling like a school subject. It started feeling like a real part of my life. Like a language I live in, not a language I study. That's the mindset I want you to build. English is not something separate from your world. It's part of your thoughts, your memories, your stories. Here's another daily practice I still use. I choose one object every day and describe it in English using as many details as I can. For example, if I choose cup, I say, "This cup is white. It's made of ceramic. It feels warm in my hands. It's full of tea. I like this cup because it reminds me of mornings." When you do this, you teach your brain to describe things naturally in English, the same way native speakers do. Let's do this together right now. Pick one thing near you, maybe your phone, your pen, or your bottle of water, and start describing it in English in your mind. It's small. It's black. It's light. It's useful. Add one more sentence. I use it every day. That's how you start thinking in English effortlessly. The more you speak to yourself in English, the less you depend on translation. It's like training your brain to walk a new path. At first, the path is small and new, but with practice, it becomes smoother and faster. Soon, your thoughts will automatically take that English path without effort. If you ever feel frustrated, remember this. Thinking in English takes time, but it's not impossible. You are already doing it every time you listen, repeat, or describe something in English. Every small English moment counts. Every little sentence you say builds a new habit in your brain. So here's your challenge for today. For the next 1 hour, try to live in English completely. Whatever you do, try to think about it in English. Describe your actions, your feelings, your surroundings. It doesn't have to be perfect, just natural. By the end of that hour, you'll realize that your mind can actually think in English more than you thought possible. And remember, thinking in English is not about forcing yourself. It's about creating small English habits that become natural over time. Speak to yourself. Listen daily. Describe your world. Read and write a little. Smile when you make mistakes. Enjoy every small improvement. That's how fluency is born. Not in translation, but in real connection with the language. When I look back at my journey of learning English, I realize that the biggest change didn't happen when I memorized grammar rules or studied vocabulary lists. It happened when I stopped trying to control every word and started letting English flow. That flow is what you need to reach. It's not about thinking fast, it's about thinking freely. Letting English come to you naturally, like water running through a river. In the beginning, I used to pause before every sentence. I would think, how do I say this in English? Then I would translate word by word in my head. By the time I found the right words, the conversation had already moved on. I felt left behind. But once I started thinking directly in English, the pauses disappeared. I could follow conversations easily, respond naturally, and express myself with confidence. If you're still translating, it means your brain is doing double work. It listens in English, translates to your native language, creates an answer, then translates it back to English. That's a lot of mental effort. No wonder you feel tired after speaking English for a while. When you think directly in English, you remove that middle step. You save energy and speak faster. Let's try to feel this difference through a little experiment. I'll say a simple phrase. What time is it? If you find yourself translating it into your native language before understanding it, pause and notice that feeling. Now, listen again. What time is it? Don't translate. Just imagine looking at a clock. See? You already understand the meaning directly. That's how you train your mind to skip translation. The next time you hear a familiar English phrase, don't try to explain it in your own language. Just visualize the meaning. For example, when you hear, "I'm running late," don't translate. Picture someone hurrying with a bag, trying to catch the bus. The image helps you feel the meaning without translation. That's what native speakers do unconsciously, and you can too. Another key step to stop translating is to start dreaming in English. It sounds strange, but your brain practices languages even when you sleep. When I first had a dream in English, I woke up smiling. It felt like my brain had finally accepted English as part of who I am. You can help this happen by listening to English before sleeping. Put on a calm English story, a soft podcast, or gentle dialogue. Let those sounds fill your mind as you fall asleep. You might not notice results immediately, but little by little, English will begin to appear in your dreams, your thoughts, and your inner voice. That's how you know your brain is adapting. Let's talk about your inner voice, that little voice inside your head that narrates your life. In your native language, you probably hear it all day. Now, start training that voice to speak English instead. When you're alone, try to think, "I'm walking to the bus stop. I need to buy groceries. It's cold today." Don't worry about mistakes. Your inner voice is your private teacher. It helps your brain stay in English mode naturally. Let's practice that right now. I'll guide you through a few everyday moments, and I want you to repeat them in your mind. I'm getting ready to go out. I can't find my keys. Oh, they're on the table. I should take my jacket. I'm leaving now. The weather feels nice. Feel how these short, natural thoughts keep you inside English. That's how fluency grows, one small thought at a time. Another thing that helps is thinking in English questions. Our minds are full of questions every day. What should I eat? Where did I put my phone? When is my meeting? Why am I so tired? All of these can easily be thought in English instead of your native language. The more you ask questions in English, the faster your brain connects ideas directly to the language. Here's a fun challenge for you. For one full day, every time you ask yourself something, ask it in English. When you think, "What time is it?" say it in English. When you wonder, "What should I wear?" say it in English. When you ask, "Did I lock the door?" say it in English. Don't worry if it feels unnatural at first. Your brain just needs time to adjust. Sometimes translation happens automatically because your brain feels safer with your native language. But English thinking grows through exposure, confidence, and repetition. So the more you use English in your everyday thoughts, the less your brain will depend on translation. I also discovered that pronunciation practice helps you think faster in English. When you train your mouth to move in English rhythm, your brain starts predicting sounds and words more quickly. Try repeating short sentences aloud several times. I can do this. It's a beautiful morning. I love learning English. This is getting easier. Speak them slowly first, then a bit faster. Notice how the words start to flow without effort. That's what natural thinking feels like. Let's repeat some sentences together now, slowly and clearly. I'm not afraid to speak English. I can express myself. I understand English more every day. I don't need to translate anymore. I can think directly in English. Repeat them again. But this time, imagine you really mean them. Feel each word deeply. You're not just saying them. You're training your brain to believe them. Confidence plays a big role in this process. When you doubt yourself, your brain slows down. It starts second-guessing and looking for safety in your first language. But when you speak with confidence, even if you make small mistakes, your brain begins to relax. It starts trusting English more and more. Think about a time when you were speaking English and suddenly felt fluent, even for a few seconds. Maybe it happened when you were laughing with a friend, or when you got excited about a topic. In that moment, you weren't translating. You were thinking directly in English because emotion took control. You forgot about rules, and your thoughts flowed naturally. You can recreate that feeling by focusing on the emotion of what you're saying, not the structure. If you're happy, express it. If you're surprised, react naturally. If you're curious, ask questions. English is not just a language. It's a rhythm of emotions and energy. Now, let's practice emotional speaking together. I'll say a feeling, and I want you to say an English sentence that matches that feeling. If I say excited, you can say, "I can't wait." If I say tired, you can say, "I really need some rest." If I say angry, you can say, "That's not fair." If I say happy, you can say, "I love this moment." Doing this regularly connects emotions directly to English words, not translations. You can even make it a game. Each time you feel something during your day, describe it in English. If you're hungry, say, "I'm starving." If you're cold, say, "It's freezing." If you're enjoying music, say, "This song is amazing." Make English part of your emotions. I also found it helpful to visualize English words. Visualization is a powerful mental trick. For example, when you think of the word apple, don't imagine the word itself written down. Imagine a real apple in your hand, shiny and red. When you think of beach, see the sand, the sea, the sun. Connect every English word with a picture, a feeling, or a sound. That way, your mind doesn't translate. It understands instantly. Let's try this together. I'll say a few words, close your eyes, and imagine them clearly. Rain, coffee, mountain, smile, ocean, sunset, friend, book, home. Don't translate, just feel each one in your mind. That's English understanding, direct and alive. Writing also helps your brain think in English. But you have to write naturally, not academically. Write about your real life, your real thoughts. Every night before sleeping, write 5 or 6 lines about your day in English. It doesn't matter if it's perfect. It matters that it's honest and simple. For example, today I went to the market. I talked with my neighbor. The weather was nice. I watched a funny video. When you write like this, you are literally thinking in English on paper. Let's do a writing thought exercise right now. Think about what you did this morning. Can you describe it in English in your mind? I woke up late. I made some tea. I checked my phone. I read a message from my friend. I smiled. See how easy and natural that feels when you let English flow without worrying about translation? That's how it should feel every day. Sometimes learners ask me, "Mia, what if I forget a word while thinking in English?" And I always say, "That's okay. Use another word." Native speakers forget words too. They just describe things differently. For example, if you forget the word fork, you can say, "The thing I use to eat." That's communication. It keeps your thoughts in English instead of switching back to your native language. Let's try this right now. Imagine you forget a word. For example, refrigerator. Instead of stopping, describe it in English. That big, cold box where we keep food. You didn't translate, you explained. That's the skill that makes you fluent. And here's another secret. When you learn new vocabulary, don't just memorize it. Use it in a sentence right away. For example, if you learn the word breeze, immediately say, "The breeze feels nice today." If you learn quiet, say, "The street is quiet." When you use new words in real sentences, your brain remembers them naturally and links them to feelings and situations. We can practice that right now. I'll give you a few new words. Try to make short sentences with them in your mind. Journey, peaceful, surprised, delicious, busy, lonely, beautiful, afraid. Create your own little English thoughts using these words. That's how you strengthen your English mind, not by memorizing, but by living the words. As you practice daily, you'll notice something special. Your first reaction to things will start coming in English. When you see something funny, your brain will think, "That's hilarious," instead of translating it from your native language. When you get tired, you'll think, "I need a break." That's when you'll know you're not translating anymore. You're living in English, and that's the goal we're reaching for together in this journey. You, me, and every learner who believes that English can become a part of who they are. As you keep practicing every day, you'll notice that English slowly starts to become part of your thoughts. At first, it may appear only for short moments, maybe a few words here, a sentence there. But those moments grow. And one day, you'll realize that you've just spent 5 whole minutes thinking only in English without even noticing it. That's progress, and it deserves to be celebrated. Thinking in English is not something that happens overnight. It's like growing a plant. You water it, give it sunlight, and wait patiently while it grows stronger day by day. Your daily practice, listening, speaking, describing, is the water that helps it grow. Every word you repeat, every sentence you whisper to yourself, adds one more leaf to your English tree. Let's take a quiet moment to practice mindfulness in English. Close your eyes for a few seconds, breathe slowly, and think about what's around you right now. Feel your chair. Feel the air in the room. Listen to the sounds near you. Now describe it softly in English. I'm sitting quietly. The air feels cool. I can hear a bird outside. It's peaceful. When you describe your present moment in English, you train your brain to think clearly and calmly in this language. One of the best ways to stop translating is to build what I call English zones in your daily life. These are small parts of your day where only English exists. It could be 10 minutes while you're having breakfast, or while you're walking, or when you're journaling before bed. During that time, promise yourself that you'll only think, speak, or listen in English. This small habit creates consistency and slowly rewires your brain to use English automatically. Let's imagine one English zone together. You wake up, stretch your arms, and say softly, "Good morning." Then, while you prepare your breakfast, you describe what you do. I'm making toast. I'm pouring juice. The smell is nice. I feel fresh this morning. As you continue your morning routine, every action becomes an English sentence. You don't have to be perfect, just consistent. When I first started creating my English zones, I kept them short, only 10 or 15 minutes, but I never missed a day. That regularity made all the difference. It trained my brain to expect English every morning, like brushing my teeth. Over time, my brain began to stay in English mode for longer and longer periods. That's how real progress happens, through quiet repetition. Here's another beautiful way to practice thinking in English. Use your imagination. The imagination is a powerful tool for language growth. You can create your own English world inside your mind anytime, anywhere. For example, imagine yourself traveling in another country. You're at the airport, checking in, talking to the staff, asking for directions, ordering food. Every time you imagine those scenes, speak them in English in your mind. "Excuse me, where is the gate? Can I have some water, please? Thank you so much." Let's try this right now. Close your eyes and imagine you've just landed in London or New York. You're walking through the airport. You hear the announcements in English. You go to the information desk and say, "Hi, can you tell me where to find a taxi?" The person smiles and replies, "Sure, go straight ahead and turn left." You nod and say, "Thank you very much." Do you feel that scene playing in your mind? That's active English thinking. You're living the language inside your imagination. I used to do this every day. I'd imagine conversations, small interactions, little stories in English. Sometimes I'd imagine ordering in a restaurant, or checking into a hotel, or talking with a friend on the phone. It made English feel alive, like a movie in my mind. And because those sentences were simple and repetitive, they became natural patterns that I could use in real conversations. Here's another gentle exercise: the mirror talk. Stand in front of a mirror and talk to yourself in English. Don't memorize a speech. Just speak naturally about your day, your feelings, or your plans. You might say, "Hi, I'm getting ready for work." Or, "Today I want to learn new words." Or, "I'm feeling better than yesterday." It might feel strange at first, but talking to your reflection helps you connect your thoughts, emotions, and English words all together. Let's take a minute to try this mentally right now. Imagine standing in front of a mirror and looking at yourself. Smile and start talking softly in English. I'm improving. I'm learning. I'm becoming more confident every day. I can think in English now. Feel how natural and powerful these words sound when you speak them with belief. Another important thing I discovered was rhythm. English has its own rhythm, and when you listen carefully, you'll notice how words connect smoothly. For example, "I want to go," "Gimme that," "How are you doing?" These connected sounds are part of natural English thinking. When you shadow native speakers and imitate their rhythm, your mind begins to predict words before you even hear them completely. That's how fluent thinking grows. Let's do a rhythm practice together. Repeat softly after me. I'm gonna take a walk. I wanna eat something. I gotta finish my work. I'm kinda tired today. These sentences use everyday contractions that native speakers think and speak with naturally. Practicing them trains your ears and brain to process English faster. When you combine rhythm, emotion, and daily habits, English becomes a natural voice inside you. You start to feel it rather than analyze it. It becomes music, soft, familiar, and comforting. Now, let's shift to another practice that helped me deeply: storytelling. Every time you tell a short story in English, you give your mind the chance to think creatively in the language. It doesn't have to be a real story. You can invent one. For example, say, "Yesterday I met a cat on the street," and continue from there. "It followed me home. I gave it some milk. It was so friendly." The point is not perfection, but imagination in English. Let's try one together right now. Think of a simple story beginning with, "Today I saw something interesting." Continue it in English in your mind. Don't worry about mistakes. Just follow the story naturally. Maybe you saw a colorful bird. Maybe you helped someone. Maybe you found something surprising. The moment you start imagining in English, you're no longer translating. You're thinking directly in English through your story. Another way to stop translating is to surround yourself with English visuals. You can put English notes or labels on things around your room. Write mirror, door, window, cup, table. Every time you see them, your brain connects the object directly with the English word. Over time, those words stop needing translation because your mind associates them automatically with real objects and actions. I remember I used to stick little paper notes all over my house. On the fridge, I wrote "open," "close," cold, food. On the door, I wrote go out, come in, lock, key. It looked funny, but it worked. After a few weeks, those English words became part of my thinking. I didn't need the papers anymore. My brain already knew them by heart. Let's try a small labeling exercise right now. Look around you and pick 3 objects. For each one, say its name in English and describe it quickly. Phone, black, small, useful. Book, blue cover, interesting story. Chair, soft, comfortable, wooden. This simple practice builds powerful associations between English words and the real world. And now, let's talk about listening again. Listening is not just about hearing sounds. It's about understanding the way English speakers think. When you listen carefully, you notice that they don't think word by word. They think in chunks of meaning. For example, instead of thinking, "What are you doing?" they understand it as one single idea. What are you doing? Your brain must learn to do the same. So, the next time you listen to English, try not to focus on every word. Focus on the meaning of the whole phrase. Let your brain feel the idea behind the sentence, not the grammar inside it. That's how you train your ear and your mind to think together in English rhythm. Let's do one more shadowing practice now. I'll say a few sentences slowly. Repeat them naturally after me. I'm learning something new today. This is getting easier every time I practice. I can express my thoughts clearly in English. I'm thinking faster and feeling more confident. Keep repeating those lines until they flow naturally. That's how you build fluency, through soft repetition and emotional connection. Another gentle reminder: never punish yourself for forgetting words. Forgetting is part of learning. When you forget, it means your brain is trying to strengthen its memory pathways. So instead of feeling upset, smile and say, "I'll remember it next time." That positive attitude keeps your brain relaxed and open for learning. I used to get frustrated when I couldn't remember simple words like knife or stairs, but then I started describing them instead. The moment I stopped being angry at myself, my learning became lighter and more joyful. Remember, learning a language is not about perfection. It's about communication and expression. Finally, here's one last practice for this part: reflection in English. Every night before sleeping, think about your day and review it in English in your mind. What did I do today? What made me smile? What did I learn? What can I do better tomorrow? Reflecting in English before bed helps your mind close the day in this language. It keeps your thoughts connected to English even while you rest. Let's try it together right now. Think softly. Today, I practiced English. I learned something new. I spoke in English confidently. I'm proud of my progress. Tomorrow, I'll keep improving. Say it again slowly. Feel the calm. Feel how natural your English thinking is becoming. You're doing something wonderful. You're training your brain to live in a new language. It takes patience, but every thought, every whisper, every practice moment brings you closer to true fluency. When you reach the point where English becomes part of your daily rhythm, something beautiful begins to happen. You no longer have to force yourself to think in English. It starts to flow naturally through your thoughts, your memories, and your emotions. You begin to dream, plan, and even laugh in English. That's when you know you've crossed a big milestone. Your mind has accepted English as one of its natural languages. But to stay in that flow, you have to keep the habit alive. Thinking in English is like keeping a flame burning. It needs small, steady sparks every day. One spark could be a conversation with a friend. Another could be a video you listen to while cooking, or a short story you read before bed. Each one keeps the English part of your brain awake and active. Many learners ask me, Mia, what should I do when I'm too tired to study? And my answer is always simple. You don't have to study. You just have to stay in touch with English, even in the smallest ways. Listen to a calm English song while lying down. Watch a short video with subtitles. Think about your day in English for 2 minutes before sleeping. These moments may seem small, but they feed your fluency quietly. Let's do a short exercise together right now. Take a deep breath, relax, and think about your day in English. Don't translate, just describe it softly to yourself. I woke up early. I had a cup of coffee. The morning was quiet. I went for a walk. I talked to my friend. I felt happy. When you describe your real day in English, you connect language with your emotions and experiences. And that's how it becomes real inside your mind. When I started doing this every night, I noticed that my thoughts started switching automatically to English without effort. Sometimes I'd catch myself thinking, I need to call my mom in English. And I'd smile, realizing that I didn't even translate. It just happened naturally. Let's go deeper into one of the most powerful habits that helped me, reading out loud. When you read English silently, your brain understands it. But when you read it out loud, your mouth, ears, and mind all work together. You feel the rhythm, the tone, the emotion of English. That's what helps your thinking become faster and more automatic. Try this right now. Read these simple sentences out loud after me. I believe in myself. Every day I'm getting better. I can think in English easily. I enjoy learning. I'm confident in my progress. Feel how your voice shapes each sentence. Feel how English starts to live in your breath, in your sound, in your rhythm. That's real thinking in English, not in silence, but in harmony with your voice. Sometimes I like to read my favorite stories aloud, even for just a few minutes. When I do that, I don't focus on grammar or meaning. I focus on sound and emotion. If the story says, the sky was painted with gold, I close my eyes for a second and imagine it. The word gold feels warm, bright, peaceful. That's what thinking in English feels like. Not just understanding words, but feeling them deeply. You can do this too. Pick something small, maybe an article, a quote, or a short story you like. Read it aloud slowly. Feel the shape of the words on your tongue. Let them become familiar, like friends you meet every day. Another small but life-changing technique I used was listening and shadowing together. Shadowing means listening to a sentence in English and repeating it immediately without waiting or translating. At first, it feels challenging, but soon you start copying not just the words, but the thought flow behind them. You begin to feel how English speakers think. Let's do a soft shadowing practice now. I'll speak slowly. You repeat right after me. I'm ready to think in English. I don't need to translate anymore. I can express myself clearly. My English is becoming natural. I feel confident when I speak. Now repeat them again, but this time, try to feel the emotion inside each line. Let the rhythm of the language carry you. This is how you train your brain to think automatically in English without stopping to translate. When you shadow every day, even for 10 minutes, you'll notice that your inner voice starts copying English rhythm naturally. You'll begin to predict what comes next in conversations, and your responses will flow without delay. That's when translation disappears completely. Another wonderful way to strengthen your English mind is through emotional journaling. This is different from just writing what you did. It's about writing how you felt in English. For example, instead of saying, I went to the park, you can say, I went to the park today and felt peaceful when I saw the sunset. When you write about emotions, your brain builds deep emotional connections in English. You start to live feelings in English, not just facts. Let's do a mini journaling practice together. Close your eyes for a second and think of one memory from the last few days that made you smile. Now, describe it softly in English in your mind. I was sitting near the window. The wind was soft. I saw people walking and laughing. It made me feel calm and thankful. Feel how English becomes more alive when you express emotion instead of translation. That's the heart of fluency, emotion and meaning, not memorization. Now, let's talk about one more small but powerful trick: repetition through routine. Choose a few favorite English sentences and repeat them every day until they become automatic. For example, I can do it. I believe in myself. I'm improving every day. I enjoy learning. These positive affirmations work like mental programming. They build confidence and help your brain keep English alive throughout the day. Repeat these with me softly now. I'm improving every day. I think in English easily. I understand English quickly. I feel relaxed when I speak. I'm proud of my progress. Say them again, slowly, letting the words sink into your heart. When you repeat sentences with feeling, your brain memorizes them not just as language, but as emotions. And once emotion enters your English, translation disappears. You begin to think, feel, and respond instantly in English. You may sometimes notice that your mind still slips back into your native language. And that's okay. It's not failure, it's just habit. Whenever that happens, gently bring your thoughts back to English. Don't be angry with yourself. Just say softly, okay, let's try again. This kindness keeps your learning gentle and sustainable. I used to carry a small notebook with me, and every time I caught myself translating, I'd write the English phrase I wanted to remember. For example, if I thought I'm feeling lazy today in my native language, I'd write it in English instead. Over time, my notebook became a collection of my real thoughts in English. That little habit helped me think faster and express myself with ease. You can try it too. Every day, note down a few thoughts in English. Nothing complicated, just real sentences you might say to yourself. I'm hungry. I miss my friend. I'm looking forward to tomorrow. It's a quiet evening. These are your life sentences, the ones you'll use again and again, and they'll help your English thinking grow naturally. Now, let's talk about something that often slows learners down: perfectionism. Many learners try to make every sentence perfect before they speak or think it. But perfection blocks fluency. You don't need to be perfect to be fluent. You just need to be comfortable. Fluency means your thoughts move freely without getting stuck on grammar or vocabulary. Think of it like dancing. You don't need to remember every step, you just need to move with the rhythm. The same goes for English. Feel the rhythm, trust your flow, and let your words come out naturally. Here's a little exercise to help you practice letting go of perfection. Imagine you're talking with a friend in English and you make a mistake. Instead of stopping or apologizing, you smile and continue the conversation. Say something like, "Oh, you know what I mean," and move on. That's how confident speakers handle mistakes. They keep the conversation alive instead of freezing. Let's try it mentally now. Imagine you say, "He go to school every day," and your friend understands, but you realize it's not perfect. You smile and say, he goes to school every day," and continue naturally. That small correction keeps you in English mode without switching back to your native language. Every time you correct yourself gently in English, your mind learns. It remembers patterns naturally, just like children do when they learn their first language. You don't need to study the rule. Your brain will absorb it through practice. One last thing for this part: celebration. Celebrate every small English moment you have. When you notice that you just thought in English, smile. When you finish listening to an English audio and understood it directly, celebrate it. When you describe something in English without translating, tell yourself, "I did it," because those small victories build motivation, and motivation keeps your English brain alive. Let's end this part with a positive reflection together. Close your eyes for a second and repeat softly in your mind, "I'm learning to think in English every day. I'm proud of my journey. I don't need to rush. I'm becoming more fluent, naturally and peacefully. I trust myself." Smile gently as you say those words. Feel how far you've already come. Every breath, every thought, every sentence is helping your English thinking grow stronger. You're doing something that millions of learners dream of. You're learning to think in another language. And that's one of the most beautiful skills a person can have. The more time you spend inside the English language, the more your mind begins to trust it. At first, English feels like something you have to reach for. But later, it starts to live inside you. It becomes your second voice, your quiet companion that whispers thoughts, ideas, and feelings in another rhythm. That's what it truly means to think in English. It's not about being perfect. It's about being natural. When I reached that stage, I realized something profound. English wasn't just a set of words. It was a new way to experience life. When I looked at the world through English, I noticed new shades of emotion, new expressions for feelings that didn't even exist in my first language. It made me more observant, more sensitive, more open-minded. Thinking in another language changes the way you see the world. If you stay patient and consistent, you'll begin to notice these changes too. You'll start catching small thoughts in English when you least expect them, while cooking, walking, or waiting for a bus. You might hear your inner voice saying, "It's a beautiful day," or "I'm a little tired," or "I should call my friend later." Those are the gentle signs that your brain has accepted English as a natural language of thought. Let's do a peaceful exercise together right now. Close your eyes and breathe slowly. Imagine yourself walking through your day, morning to evening, but this time, imagine every thought in English. You wake up and think, I need some water. You brush your teeth and think, I'm getting ready. You make breakfast and whisper, it smells delicious. You walk outside and say, the air feels cool today. You meet someone and think, I like her smile. You go to bed and think, today was a good day. That's what it feels like to live in English. Soft, continuous, natural. Another thing that helps a lot is curiosity. Ask yourself questions in English every day. Curiosity keeps your brain active. For example, when you see something new, don't ask, what is this, in your first language. Ask it in English. What's that sound? Why is the sky so clear today? How does this work? These small, curious questions make your brain process the world directly in English. Let's practice this mindset together. I'll give you a few situations, and I want you to think of the questions you might ask in English. You're in a restaurant. What might you ask? Maybe, what do you recommend? Or, is this spicy? You're in a store. You might ask, do you have this in another size? You're traveling. What time does the train leave? Where can I buy a ticket? Every question you imagine in English builds your thinking power and prepares you for real conversations. Here's another powerful daily exercise: mental translation reversal. Normally, learners translate from their language to English. But I want you to try the opposite for practice. Think of a sentence in English first, and then, if you can, check what it would be in your language. This small reversal teaches your brain that English can be the starting point for thought, not the destination. You'll realize that English can lead your ideas naturally. For example, think in English, I'm grateful for this day, or I need to focus on my goals, and only afterward, if you wish, think of how you would say it in your native language. It's a beautiful mental workout, one that strengthens your English pathways and reduces your dependence on translation over time. Now, let's talk about another habit that will help you think in English faster: surrounding yourself with English voices. You can do this by listening to English podcasts, interviews, or conversations daily. Choose topics that interest you, not just lessons. Maybe cooking, travel, technology, or personal growth. When you listen to English that genuinely interests you, your mind stays relaxed and engaged. It starts recognizing patterns naturally. When I started listening to English podcasts, I realized that I didn't have to understand every single word to benefit. Even when I missed a few words, my brain was still learning rhythm, tone, and flow. Over time, I started predicting what speakers would say next. That's when I knew my mind had started thinking in English automatically. Let's do a short listening imagination exercise. Picture yourself listening to two English speakers talking casually. One says, "Did you watch the movie last night?" And the other answers, "Yeah, it was so funny." Now, pause and feel how you understood that directly, without translation. The meaning came instantly. That's how you know your English brain is getting stronger. You can also watch short English videos and shadow the speakers for a few minutes each day. I remember doing this while walking around my room. I'd listen to a short clip and repeat the lines in real time, trying to match their tone and emotion. It felt like I was borrowing someone else's English brain for a while, and slowly that brain started to become mine. Let's shadow a few everyday lines together now. Repeat after me softly. How's it going? Pretty good, thanks. What are you up to? Just relaxing. Want to grab a coffee? Sure, let's go. These are short, natural patterns that native speakers use daily. And when you repeat them often, they become part of your automatic thinking. Another simple but effective tip: keep an English reaction diary. Each day, write down 3 small reactions in English to things that happened around you. For example, it's raining, I love this weather. Or I'm tired but proud of my progress today. Or the food was delicious. This habit builds emotional connection and spontaneity. You'll start forming opinions and feelings directly in English, which is the essence of thinking fluently. Sometimes, when I didn't have time to write, I just recorded short voice notes on my phone. I would speak for 1 minute about my day in English. Nothing formal, just natural thoughts like, "Today I met my friend and we laughed a lot." Or, "I learned a new word today and I tried to use it in a sentence." Listening back to those recordings helped me see how my thoughts in English were getting smoother week by week. If you like, you can try it too. Take 1 minute after this video and record your voice speaking English about anything you did today. It can be short and simple. Don't worry about grammar, just express yourself. Then listen to it after a few days and notice how your speech and thought flow improve naturally. Another interesting thing that happens when you think in English is that your emotional tone starts changing. English has its own way of expressing feelings, its own balance between directness and politeness. For example, instead of saying "I'm angry," you might say "I'm upset" or "I'm a bit disappointed." These soft expressions show emotion in a more balanced way, and as you use them, you start feeling emotions slightly differently too. It's fascinating how language shapes emotion. Let's try expressing feelings in English softly together. Say, "I'm a little tired, but it's okay." "I'm feeling happy today." "I'm a bit nervous, but I'll try my best." "I'm thankful for this moment." Each sentence connects language with emotion, and when you do this often, you'll realize that you no longer translate how you feel. You express it directly in English. Now, let's discuss the role of environment. If possible, surround yourself with English, not just through media, but in real life. Change your phone's settings to English. Set your reminders in English. Write your to-do lists in English. For example, write "buy milk," "call mom," "finish report," instead of writing them in your own language. This subtle change keeps your brain immersed in English, even during daily tasks. When you see English words all around you, on your phone, laptop, notes, your mind starts processing them automatically. It becomes natural to think in English because you're surrounded by it all day long. That's how bilingual environments are created. You don't have to travel abroad to live in English. You can create your own English world right where you are. Here's another creative practice: the thinking walk. Every day, take a short walk, and during that walk, think only in English. Describe what you see. The sky is blue. That car is moving fast. The wind feels cool on my face. There's a child playing near the park. Speak softly or just think silently. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you give your brain a space to think naturally in English without interruption. Let's imagine doing that walk right now. You're walking slowly. You see trees moving with the wind. You hear birds singing. You think, the morning feels peaceful. You smell the fresh air and say, it's a beautiful day. You hear footsteps nearby and think, someone's walking their dog. All of this happens in English. Simple thoughts, one after another. That's how natural English thinking develops. Sometimes people tell me, Mia, I don't have anyone to speak English with. And I always say, you do. You have yourself. Your thoughts are your first conversation partner. Talking to yourself is not strange. It's powerful. It's how you train your mind to stay in English without needing anyone else. Let's do a self-talk example right now. Imagine you're getting ready in the morning and say softly, okay, what should I wear today? Then look at your clothes and think, maybe the blue shirt. No, the white one looks better. I need to hurry. Where's my bag? Got it. Let's go. That's a complete conversation with yourself in English, and you didn't translate a single word. That's how real fluency is built, through everyday self-talk, imagination, and patience. Before we end this part, let's do a relaxation and reflection exercise together. Sit comfortably, take a deep breath, and repeat softly in your mind. I'm becoming more fluent every day. I can think in English without fear. My thoughts flow easily. English feels natural to me. I trust myself and my progress. Let these words stay in your heart for a moment. Breathe slowly and smile. Because every time you repeat them, you strengthen your English mindset. You're not just learning a language, you're building a new way to live, think, and connect. You're doing wonderfully. Keep going with small, calm steps each day, and soon you'll notice that you don't even remember what translating felt like. You'll simply be living in English, easily, peacefully, and beautifully. There's a quiet joy that comes when English starts living naturally in your thoughts. You wake up and the first words that form in your mind are in English. You look outside and think, what a calm morning. You check your phone and whisper, I have a message from my friend. It feels gentle, effortless, as if your brain has finally accepted English as part of its daily rhythm. That moment didn't happen suddenly for me. It arrived slowly, through months of soft, consistent practice. I used to talk to myself while walking to the market, while doing dishes, even while waiting for a bus. Little sentences, small reflections, simple observations. At first, they felt forced, but over time they began to feel like breathing, natural and automatic. Let's practice that idea right now. Think about what you're doing at this exact moment. Say it in English softly, maybe even whisper it. I'm sitting and listening. I'm learning something new. I feel calm and focused. When you can describe your present moment in English without effort, you are already living inside the language. One of the most peaceful habits I developed was narrating my day, like a story. When I woke up, I would say to myself, the sun is shining through my window. I'm making my bed. I'm getting ready for breakfast. I spoke to myself as if I were the main character in a movie spoken entirely in English. It made my days feel beautiful, and my English mind became stronger each time I did it. Let's imagine this together for a moment. You wake up, stretch your arms, and think, it's going to be a nice day. You make your coffee and say, it smells wonderful. You open your window and whisper, "The air feels cool and fresh." You smile and think, "I'm ready to start my day." That's how simple English thinking begins, with mindfulness, presence, and calm repetition. Another method that worked wonders for me was connecting English with my senses. When I saw something, I said its color or shape in English. When I smelled something, I named the scent: sweet, fresh, spicy, warm. When I touched something, I described how it felt: soft, rough, cold, smooth. The more senses you involve in learning, the faster your brain forms strong English connections. Let's try that sensory practice right now. Look around you and pick one object. Maybe it's your cup, your phone, or your notebook. Describe it in English using all your senses. This cup is white. It feels warm. It smells like coffee. It looks clean and smooth. It makes a little sound when I put it down. See how alive English becomes when you connect it with your senses? It's no longer just a word. It's an experience. When you start linking English to real sensations, you stop needing translations completely. You're no longer thinking of the word for this. You're simply feeling and naming your world in English. I also learned that humor helps a lot. I used to watch short, funny clips in English every evening. I didn't just laugh, I repeated the funny lines afterward. That joy, that laughter, that emotional spark, it made English unforgettable. When you laugh in English, your brain remembers the moment without effort. You're not learning, you're living. Let's do a joyful exercise right now. Think of something that made you laugh recently. Maybe a friend's joke, a funny video, or a small accident that turned out okay. Describe it in English in your mind. It was so funny when I couldn't stop laughing. I smiled all day after that. That laughter, even imagined, helps your mind associate English with positive emotions. The more emotions you connect to English, joy, curiosity, peace, even surprise, the more naturally your brain starts thinking in it. Because language and emotion are always connected. When you feel something in English, you remember it without translation. Sometimes I practiced emotional connection by listening to soft English songs. I didn't focus on every lyric. I just let the rhythm and feeling wash over me. Later, I'd hum a few lines and notice they appeared in my thoughts throughout the day. That's how I realized music helps build emotional fluency. The melody helps your mind remember English phrases as feelings instead of grammar. Let's do a little musical thought experiment. Imagine you're listening to a calm English song. The singer says softly, "Everything will be all right." You don't translate, you just feel it. You breathe deeply, and the phrase stays with you. Later in the day, when something small goes wrong, that same English phrase comes back to your mind. Everything will be all right. That's English living inside you, not as study material, but as comfort. Reading stories out loud can also deepen your English thinking. Choose stories that make you feel something, stories with emotion, with life. When you read them aloud, your voice carries those emotions, and your brain memorizes them naturally. You don't have to analyze, just read, feel, and imagine. Let's read a few calming lines together now, slowly, with feeling. The sun was low in the sky, and the air smelled of rain. She smiled when she saw her friend walking toward her. The sound of waves made him feel peaceful. I closed my eyes and listened to the wind. Each sentence invites you to see, feel, and breathe in English. That's how your brain begins to think without translating, through sensory emotional connection. Now, let's talk about conversations. Many learners freeze during conversations because they try to translate their thoughts before speaking. But here's a secret. Conversations are not about perfect grammar. They're about connection. When you focus on sharing meaning rather than translating words, you start speaking more fluently and naturally. Let's imagine a conversation right now. You're meeting a friend, and she says, "Hey, how have you been?" You smile and answer, "I have been good, just busy lately." She laughs and says, "Same here." Then you ask, "How's your family?" And she replies, "They're great." That's it. Short, real, natural English exchange. No translation needed, just connection. To practice this, try having imaginary conversations with yourself throughout the day. You can even pretend to speak with a friend or a shopkeeper in English. "Hi, can I have a bottle of water?" "Yes, here you go." "Thanks." These small exchanges help your brain get used to real communication without translation. Let's do one quick interactive scene together. Imagine you're at a store. You say, "Excuse me, how much is this?" The shopkeeper replies, "It's $5. You say, "Okay, I'll take it, thank you." The shopkeeper smiles and says, "Have a great day." You answer, "You too." You just completed a short English conversation. Simple but powerful. The more often you do this, the more natural it becomes. Another way to strengthen your English thinking is to keep your attention gentle and playful. When learning feels too serious, your brain resists. But when you make it light and enjoyable, your brain opens up. Treat English like a friend, not a test. Smile when you speak it. Laugh when you make mistakes. Celebrate small progress. That's the energy that makes learning last. I remember once I said something funny by mistake during a group chat. Everyone laughed kindly, and I laughed too. Instead of feeling embarrassed, I thought, well, at least everyone understood me. That moment taught me that connection matters more than perfection. And from then on, I spoke freely without fear of mistakes. Let's try this together. Think of one sentence you often hesitate to say in English because you fear making a mistake. Now say it softly. Don't stop to correct yourself. Don't analyze it. Just let it flow. Maybe it's, "I like to learn English every day," or "Sometimes I forget words, but I keep going." Feel how your confidence grows when you allow yourself to be imperfect. That's true fluency. When you build this easy relationship with English, friendly, calm, and forgiving, your thoughts start forming freely. You stop hesitating, you stop translating, you start trusting yourself. Before ending this part, let's do one final mental reflection exercise. Sit quietly, breathe slowly, and imagine your mind as a calm ocean. On the surface, waves move. They are your thoughts, your words, your sentences in English. Below the surface, everything is peaceful and steady. That peace is your growing confidence. Now, softly repeat these affirmations in your mind. I think in English clearly and naturally. I understand without translating. I feel calm when I speak. I enjoy this journey. I'm proud of my progress. Let those sentences sink in like gentle waves in your mind. Because every time you repeat them, you remind yourself that this process is not about rushing. It's about growing, step by step, thought by thought. until English becomes a quiet, effortless part of who you are. You've already come so far. Each practice, each reflection, each small English moment is proof that your brain is learning to think directly, smoothly, and confidently in English. And the best part is, this journey never really ends. English will keep growing with you, becoming softer, stronger, and more natural every single day. Every learner reaches a moment when English stops feeling like a language to be learned and starts feeling like a language to be lived. It's the moment when you stop asking, "How do I say this in English?" and start simply saying it. It's when your thoughts, emotions, and reactions all flow naturally in English without hesitation. That's the moment when translation disappears completely and understanding begins to feel like breathing. For me, that moment arrived quietly. I was sitting by the window one evening, looking outside, watching the sunset. I thought, the sky looks beautiful today. And then I realized I didn't translate it. It came directly from my heart, in English. It was such a small thought, but it meant everything. It meant my brain had accepted English as one of its native voices. You'll have that moment too. Maybe when you're speaking with someone, or when you're daydreaming, or when you're writing a simple message. It will happen naturally, and when it does, you'll smile and think, I did it. I really can think in English now. The path to reach that point isn't about studying endlessly. It's about living daily moments in English. The more you live in English, the more alive it becomes inside you. It grows through simple habits, through listening, reading, talking, reflecting, repeating, and feeling. And one day, it all blends together like music, smooth, familiar, effortless. Let's take a few minutes to reflect together now. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and imagine your daily life completely surrounded by English. You wake up, stretch, and think, "Good morning, world." You make breakfast and whisper, "I love the smell of coffee." You walk outside and think, "The weather is nice today." You talk to yourself gently, "Let's have a good day." Every small thought is in English, calm, natural, real. That's not something far away. That's something you can start creating today. Step by step, thought by thought, until it becomes who you are. Now, let's talk about mindset. To truly think in English, you have to stop treating it like a school subject. English isn't something you memorize. It's something you experience. It's a way to connect, to feel, to express. When you let go of perfection and open yourself to imperfection, that's when the magic happens. When I was learning, I used to stop every time I made a mistake. I'd correct myself, apologize, and feel frustrated. But later, I realized that native speakers don't even notice small mistakes. They care more about connection and meaning. So I started speaking more freely, without stopping to fix every word. I told myself, fluency is not about being perfect. It's about being understood. Let's practice this together. Think of one sentence you've been afraid to say in English because you weren't sure if it was perfect. Now, take a breath and say it softly, just as it comes to you. Don't fix it. Don't analyze it. Just let it flow. You'll notice how free it feels. That's your real English voice. Not perfect, but honest and alive. Your mind will start to change when you speak with love instead of fear. When you enjoy the sound of your own voice in English, mistakes lose their power. You start to smile more when you talk, and that's when fluency truly begins. Sometimes I tell my students, don't just learn English, feel it. Feel how the words move through your mouth. Feel how they connect ideas together. Feel how certain phrases carry warmth, humor, or comfort. English is full of emotion, and once you let yourself feel that emotion, translation disappears automatically. Let's do a small emotional listening practice together. Imagine someone says to you, "You did a great job." Pause for a second and feel what that means. Encouragement, pride, warmth. Now imagine someone says, "I miss you." Feel the emotion behind those words. Longing, love, memory. That's how you connect meaning to feeling, not translation. This emotional link is the heart of fluent thinking. You don't translate how you feel. You simply feel it in English. Here's another reflection exercise, one I still do every week. It's called Thinking Back in English. Before going to bed, I look back on my day and review it in English, like watching a slow movie of my life. I say softly, "I woke up early today. I felt tired in the morning. I had lunch with my friend. We talked about our plans. The weather was nice. Now I'm ready to sleep." This peaceful reflection trains your mind to connect memories to English directly. Let's do this together right now. Think about your day so far and describe it in English quietly in your mind. Don't worry about structure or grammar. Just follow the flow of your thoughts. I started my morning with breakfast. I listened to something in English. I learned a new idea. I felt inspired. I'm proud of myself. These small reflections are what transform English from a foreign language into your natural voice. Whenever you feel stuck, remember that your mind is capable of amazing transformation. It just needs time, trust, and gentle consistency. You're not just training your tongue or your memory, you're training your entire way of thinking. And that takes patience. Every time you repeat a sentence in English, you're strengthening invisible connections in your brain. Every time you describe something in English, you're planting new thoughts that will grow stronger each day. Every time you understand something directly without translation, your brain celebrates quietly. It's learning to think in English effortlessly. You don't need to measure your progress by big moments. The small ones matter more. The moment you understand a song lyric without looking it up. The moment you think in English when you're tired. The moment you say something naturally without hesitation. Those are victories. Beautiful, quiet victories. And each one brings you closer to fluency. Let's celebrate a few of those small wins together right now. Repeat softly after me. I'm proud of how far I've come. I understand more than I used to. I can think in English more easily now. I trust my progress. I'm becoming fluent, slowly and naturally. Feel those words as truths, not wishes. Because they are true. Every sentence you've practiced, every thought you've formed in English is proof of your progress. Now let's talk about consistency, because consistency is everything. Even 5 minutes of English thinking every day is better than 1 hour once a week. It's the daily rhythm that matters, not the size of your study session. Here's a small daily routine you can follow to keep English alive in your mind. When you wake up, say one English sentence to yourself. It's a new day. While having breakfast, describe your food in English. The coffee smells nice. During your day, Notice something and name it in English. The sky is bright. The room feels quiet. Before bed, think about one good thing from your day in English. I learned something new today. These are not study moments. These are living moments. And when English lives in your moments, it becomes part of your thoughts forever. Sometimes you might feel tired or discouraged. You might think, I'm not improving fast enough. But remember this. Every small English thought is progress. Every time you try, even silently, your brain is learning. It never goes to waste. Be kind to yourself as you learn. Kindness keeps your mind open. Pressure closes it. The more gently you learn, the faster your brain adapts. Speak to yourself with encouragement. Say, it's okay. I'm improving. I'll keep going. These soft words in English are not just affirmations, they're practice too. Let's whisper a few gentle affirmations together now. I believe in my ability to think in English. I enjoy learning every day. I speak and think with confidence. I feel relaxed when I use English. I'm proud of my effort. Let those words fill your mind for a moment. You're not forcing English. You're inviting it. You're creating a peaceful space inside you where the language can grow naturally. And when you think about it, this whole journey, from translation to fluency, isn't just about English. It's about learning to trust your mind, your patience, and your own voice. It's about growing slowly, quietly, beautifully. So as we come to the end of this long session, I want you to take one last deep breath. Feel how calm you are right now. You've been listening, thinking, and imagining in English for a long time. And your brain has stayed here, inside this language, peacefully. That's proof that you can live in English whenever you choose. Repeat softly with me, one last time. I can think in English clearly. I don't need to translate anymore. My English thoughts are natural and real. I feel confident in myself. I love learning English. Smile as you say those words, because this is your new reality. You're not just learning English, you're living it. Every thought, every moment, every day. You've done something truly remarkable. You've created a new voice inside your mind. A voice that speaks softly, fluently, and beautifully in English. And from today on, that voice will keep growing, guiding, and connecting you to the world. So keep going, English learner. Keep thinking, feeling, and living in English. And remember, every small English thought you have is a quiet miracle of growth. Thank you for spending this time with me. I'm so proud of you. Keep practicing, keep believing, and keep thinking in English. Because from this moment forward, English is not just something you learn, it's something you are.